The Retrofighters Hunter wireless Xbox controllers featured in today's review were provided courtesy of Retrofighters. Retrofighters are back with a new controller release for the original Xbox. Dubbed the Hunter, this new wireless input option for the Xbox brings a more modern ergonomic approach to Microsoft's first foray into the console space. Featuring Hall effect sticks and triggers plus pressure-sensitive face buttons, the Hunter looks poised to be the ultimate input device for the Xbox. An included USB receiver also makes the Hunter compatible with the Nintendo Switch and PC for an all-in-one input option for fans of controller consolidation. The Hunter comes in a two-tone black and green box with a glossy depiction of the controller taking up most of the front real estate. The Hunter branding and compatible systems also get featured with a very interesting font. The side gives us another depiction of the Hunter, making it ideal for storing on a shelf and still seeing exactly what is inside. The back gives a nice breakdown of the Hunter with a written description and a list of key highlights. Inside the box you'll find your Hunter controller, Xbox and USB receivers, USB-C cable, and a quick start guide. For anyone who owns an Xbox Series controller, the Hunter will look and feel immediately familiar. The overall design is slightly wider and less deep than the current Microsoft pad, but it fits the hands like a glove. Textured plastic on the back of the handles ensures you won't lose your grip during even the most heated LAN party. Textured grips are also featured on the bumpers and triggers, giving a solid feel during play. The triggers are equipped with Hall effect sensors and have great resistance for precise pulls. The micro switches in the bumpers are satisfying to press, but on one of my Hunter review samples, one of the bumpers sits lower on one side, making it harder to use with a side press. On the other sample, both are aligned perfectly. While it hasn't impacted my gameplay since I use a rolling technique anyway, I know many out there like the side use, making it worth noting. The face of the controller has an interesting two-tier design that gives it a more unique look. Thumbsticks, D-pad, and face buttons are all present with an added extra of a home button for use on PC and Switch. The button layout in use is pulled from the Xbox Controller S, so the OG Xbox black and white buttons reside just under the 4 other standard face buttons. Each of the 6 face buttons features a proper pressure sensitivity for games in the Xbox library that make use of them. The D-pad uses a disc-style design and is a decent size with good rollability. Thumbsticks for the Hunter use Hall effect sensors and provide smooth physical movement. The edge of the shell around the sticks appear to have a small anti-friction coating, further ensuring smoother rolls. The stick resistance feels perfect to my tastes, and thumb caps provide adequate grip without being abrasive. The build quality of the Hunter feels solid in the hands without being excessively heavy, despite including 2 rumble motors and an internal battery. To further amplify the sturdy feeling is how nothing within the Hunter rattles when shaken. The frame also shows no signs of giving when I try to bend it from the handles or apply weight anywhere on its face. Even a good scientific balcony drop has done little to loosen the frame. This is a solid pad, worthy of the tanky console that is the OG Xbox. The Hunter performs equally well in my library of Xbox titles and exceeds the results found from the Duke and Controller S in a few areas. Loading up an Xbox controller tester on a modded console, you can see how the Hunter provides more precise readings for its pressure-sensitive face buttons compared to the original pads. Triggers also have less of a starting dead zone, but they don't quite hit every range in the pull. This has done nothing to hamper gameplay, mind you. Thumbsticks also closely match the performance of original pads in this test, including the weird movement buildup required to mark each range. As you can see from the synthetic comparison, the Hunter is looking fantastic. As we should hopefully all know by now is that synthetic tests don't always tell the full story, so diving into games is a must. Diving into the Xbox's wonderful lineup of first and third person shooters, I put the sticks on the Hunter to the test. The Hunter has felt precise in each tested game, with good ranges being represented on both the X and Y axis and their diagonals. Finishing up a legendary Halo 2 campaign playthrough felt natural, and Half-Life 2 was a treat to revisit on my CPU-modded Xbox. Overall, I find the results quite pleasing, and if I wasn't doing direct side-by-side comparisons with the Controller S, I would be hard-pressed to have known any difference between them. So what are the differences, you ask? Well, the sensitivity is a touch higher than the sticks found on the Duke or Controller S. Again, without a direct back and forth, I likely would not have even noticed, so take that as you will. Face button performance has been a blast. Whether or not the game in question utilizes included pressure sensitivity or not, each press registers promptly with the 2.4 GHz connection, and I have had no issues with dropped inputs. For games that do make use of pressure sensitivity, I have found them far easier to use than the Controller S. Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of my favorite games to mess with pressure sensitivity, and it handles like a dream. Other games such as Dead or Alive 3 have handled this equally as well. The buttons are a bit louder than those found on original Xbox controllers, and that is their only real drawback to anyone who might be bothered by such things. I have never been fond of the Controller S's placement of the black and white buttons, so I am happy that the bumpers of the Hunter mirror them, bringing the experience in line with what you would expect out of backward-compatible Xbox titles found on either the Xbox 360 or Xbox Series consoles. As for the Hunter's D-pad, it works well in the titles I have put it up against. Performing combos in Street Fighter has proved little problem, and the Tony Hawk games have been handling great with easy diagonal input. While it won't be the first input of choice for hardcore FGC fans due to its wireless connection, for the rest of us, it will get the job done. The built-in rumble on the Hunter provides a good forceful punch during play. For anyone less fond of the feature, the Hunter does have an included macro to reduce rumble strength. It is worth noting, however, that the Hunter only has one rumble strength setting. So for those few Xbox games that had variable rumble strength, the Hunter doesn't replicate this function. As previously mentioned, the Hunter can also be paired with the Nintendo Switch or PC using the included USB receiver. When paired with the Switch, the Hunter is picked up as a standard Pro controller and behaves as such in every title. Remapping controls are even supported without issue. The face button mapping defaults to the standard Nintendo mapping, so the A and B buttons and X and Y buttons will be reversed accordingly. Now, as the controller wasn't designed primarily for the Switch, features such as motion control and NFC communication are not present. For any game that doesn't make use of these features, the Hunter makes for a solid input option and a convenient one if you need extra Switch controllers for any reason. On PC, the Hunter can be used in direct and X input modes, making it compatible with any number of use cases. In X input mode, the controller behaves like any traditional Xbox pad, and it does a great job of it. I've had no issues while using it during my nightly Apex sessions, and performance and latency have been great. To put any false expectations to rest quickly, however, the USB receiver does not transmit any of the pad's built-in pressure-sensitive functions. The black and white buttons also mirror the bumpers during this mode of operation. Now to quickly touch on the Hunter's battery life. The Hunter takes around 2.5 hours to charge, and on a full battery provides around 12 to 14 hours of play on average during my test period. The controller still pairs up to its wireless receiver while plugged in, so you can keep playing even while it is charging. Now let's take a second to reiterate some of the minor hiccups I have encountered during my testing of the Retro Fighter's Hunter. Triggers have a slight dead zone on them, making them activate a touch later than expected. Once used to them, they have caused no problems during play, and perfect starts in Need for Speed Underground are a breeze to pull off. The physical build quality on one of my review samples sees the right bumper sitting lower than the other side, resulting in harder use if trying to press from the side. Not a deal breaker problem for how I use the pad, but do check the physical build beforehand so you will know if you need to reach out for a replacement if desired. One of the more obscure oddities I encountered during my test period was instances of diagonal ranges becoming shorter occasionally. In Metal Gear Solid 2 here, you can see Snake momentarily slowing down as the stick hits its diagonals. With a quick press of the Hunter's reset button on the back of the pad, everything returns to normal. Retro Fighters is already addressing this one, but I figured I would still showcase it and a quick fix for anyone who happens to encounter it, though I don't expect many to. A few oddities aside, I have found my time with the Retro Fighters Hunter pleasing. I enjoy the controller far more than the old Logitech wireless pads with their absurd trigger placement and sensitivity. Overall, it matches up pretty well with the performance of the original Duke and Controller S, and even exceeds it in anything pressure related. I have yet to encounter any game compatibility issues across my 100 plus game catalog, further putting a smile on my face. I do recommend a quick check of the bumpers to ensure one isn't lower than the other, but otherwise, this is a solid pad fans of the OG Xbox can enjoy for years to come. So those are my thoughts on the Retro Fighter Hunter, a very solid gamepad overall, and one that I'm just really happy to see. Again, I love the OG Xbox, lots of great memories, and so much nostalgia, but definitely give this one a try and check it out, see what you think for yourselves, because again, I just think it's pretty worthwhile. So thank you so much for watching today's review, and a big thank you to Retro Fighters for sending this one out my way for us to check out and share with all of you. But here at the end, the usual favors, thumbs up, thumbs down, depending on how much you like this video. Baby screaming. Sub button, notification bell, so you can see when new videos go live on the channel. And then again, if you're interested in supporting us, check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Big thank you to all of our champs. You're amazing. But we're going to go ahead and call it here, so until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming. We'll see you back next video.